When you're starting out in photography, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to figure out how to put the film into the camera. So whether you're using 35mm, medium format, or large format, let me show you how it's done. Welcome to the Naked Photographer, where I'll be exposing myself. No, I won't. That sounded better in my head. Now there are too many different kinds of models to go over every single one. So I'm only going to show you the basics, and then you will have to learn how to adapt that to your specific kind of camera. For 35mm, you have two basic types. There's the manual advance, which typically comes with a lever that you have to move to advance the film. Then you have the automatic drive or motor drive, and those typically advance themselves. They load a little bit differently. Medium format typically has a back that comes off, or at least an insert that comes out. If you're using something like a twin lens camera, then the film is loaded as though the camera itself is the insert, but the basics stay pretty much the same. You are, however, going to need a spare spool that the film comes on. Now, when you typically buy a used camera, the spool left over from the last person tends to be in there because the film is transferred from the spool that it's made on at the factory onto an empty one in the camera. I have never bought a new medium format. I have no idea if a spool comes loaded in there for you. So if you have purchased a new medium format, please leave a comment. Let me know if a spool actually comes with that. And if not, how did you get one? Large format, on the other hand, are sheets, and they are put into film holders such as this, typically one on either side. Now, whether you're using 4x5, 8x10, 5x7, or some other size, they are usually loaded all exactly the same. With a manual camera, open the back typically by lifting the film rewind lever. Some may use a button or switch on the side. With the door open, insert your film. Most cameras load on the left side. In this particular case, I have to raise the rewind lever. Then, moving the film advance lever, make note of which direction the film catch is moving. Pull the film across and put the leader into the slot, ensuring that the tab grabs the sprocket holes. Slowly advance the lever to make sure that it's really pulling the film all the way across. If it slips, you may think that your film is loaded when it is not. Once you're sure, close the back, and then advance the film until frame 1 appears in the counter window. With the automatic camera, open the back. This one uses a slide catch. Insert the film. Again, it goes into the left side for most camera models. Pull the film across, make sure that the sprocket hole engages with the gear, and then close the back and turn the camera on, and the motor drive should advance to the first frame. If your camera has a removable back, take that off to make this process a little bit easier. With your film handy, open the back and remove the empty spool. Set that aside, we're going to use that again later. If your back has a removable insert, take that out. Break the seal on the film and put that into the insert where the original spool had been. Stretch the film across and thread the end of the paper into the slot of the empty spool. Put the spool into the insert and slowly advance the lever to take up any slack. Pay attention to the arrow on the opposite side. This needs to line up with the mark in the camera. This will ensure that the first frame lines up with the 1 on the film counter. Put the insert back into the holder and close the holder before advancing to the first frame. Once you're at the first frame, reattach the holder onto the camera. Orient the holder so you can pull the dark slide towards you. The flap on the end opens up. With the sheet of film, orient the notch so that it's in the top right corner. Open the flap and make sure that the film is underneath the guide rails on both sides. Then push the film all the way in, lower the flap, and insert the dark slide. Flip it over and you're ready to load the second side. There are the basics. If you have a specific camera that's completely different than anything else I've shown you, please list that in the comments, and even better, try to link to a manual so that other people can learn how to do that more specifically for those. But to recap, with the manual advanced 35mm, watch which direction the spool turns and then load the film so that it can grab the little teeth. Advance it a couple of levers and then close the camera up and move on to the 1 frame number. For the automatic, typically you just have to lay it in, making sure that the gear catches the sprocket holes first, and then the motor will take over from there. The medium format, have that spare spool, get everything tightly wound, and then watch for that arrow on the film backing to line up with the arrow on the camera. And with a large format, remember, this must be loaded in complete darkness. The film for these two have either the metal canister or the paper backing to keep them light safe until you get past the arrow mark on this. Sheet film, however, there's nothing to keep it safe. When you open the box, you better be in full dark and load this by touch only. You do get the feel for it. Make sure the notch is oriented correctly. I showed it in the top right corner. If you do it sideways, just make sure you rotate that accordingly. Once the film is in and the dark slide is closed, then it is safe to turn the lights on. Remember, film cannot be handled under a safe light either. It is only for paper. So if you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer them. Just send me an email or you can leave a comment and I'll try to get back to you. Thank you again for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.